There are many stories that you're telling yourself that you have to do it this way in your business, that you have to operate this way with your team or your industry. And those ideals, those beliefs, because a belief is just a thought that you repeat over and over. That's all it is. So once we change our thoughts, then we change our world. So it really is about letting go of those old things that are not serving us anymore. And then, you're not carrying this dead weight around, you're not pushing that boulder up the hill. You have the focus and the clarity and the tools to take those big leaps. And that's what we're all about. And like I said, this is a proven process. We have done this for 13 years. I cannot believe it. Everything we're doing is from our SCALEit method. There are 5 pillars to the SCALEit method. They run through every single business model, every single industry. You need these 5 pillars to succeed. So for those of you that are thinking, my business is different, I'm here to tell you, yes, it is different. Every business in here is different. But you all need a vision. You need a strategic vision. You need a plan. You need cash flow. You need team. You need leadership. And you need execution. Is that correct? These are the 5 pillars that every business must have to succeed. And they all need to be shored up. Most times when we dive into businesses, you might have 2 or 3 of those fairly strong, but, others could have big gaps. And your business is a living, breathing thing. So as you're evolving, you're always going to have gaps. So we're always going to be looking at what's the next gap we need to close to get you to that next level and keeping you focused on that big vision. The outcome is to have a scalable company that doesn't depend on you. How does that sound? Does that sound like just like, bliss? You need 2 things. You need a team-managed company that doesn't depend on you. Now, you're going to put leaders in place, and you're in touch with those leaders, so you still have your hands in, but not at the level of, the micromanaging, like what you were talking about earlier. And you need a team-managed company that can run without you, and you need a scalable model so that it's the one-to-many, that you can reach a lot of people with the same effort and energy. Most business owners have no idea where they are in the scaling process. So this is really important. You have to have awareness for where you are. First, we have to look in the mirror and say, what's the challenge? What's going wrong? Where am I at? And once you know where you're at, then we can figure out the gap to get you to that next level, right? So as I take you through these 5 phases, I want you to just make a note of what phase you feel that you're in, okay? Make a note because that's important for the process that we're going to take you through. And I love this quote by Michael Gerber. If your business depends on you, you don't own a business. You have a job. And it's the worst job in the world because you work for a lunatic. You are the lunatic that you work for. Okay. Just so we're all clear, okay? We want to fire you. All right. So phase 1 is the seeker. Most of you are beyond that because this event is not for startups. This event is for the established business owner, the forgotten entrepreneur. There's a lot of support out there for startups. But what I found when I was in the midst of all of that and growing a more substantial company, it's like you're in nowhere's land. You're like, I got here and then now what? Anyone ever feel like that? Okay. That's all? 2 people? Okay. All right. Phase 1 is the seeker. It's the startup. You're putting your ideas out in the world. And some of you are developing other companies, right? So we always go back to phase 1. But there's no scaling happening here because everything depends on you. But it's obviously a very important phase. Okay? Phase 2, I call the pioneer. And some of you may be in phase 2. You're well into the 6 figures, mid 6 figures by phase 2. You are, I call it the pioneer because you're in the thick of your business. You got your hands in everything. You're getting your hands dirty. You're building out those revenue streams. You're getting more clear on your target market. You're refining things. You're building your customer journey. You are starting to build a small team, maybe an assistant, maybe a marketing person. Hopefully you're not doing your own bookkeeping at this point. And, it's good. You're starting to delegate, which is great. But if you feel like you still have to approve everything going in and out of your business, this is what's going to keep you small. Okay? We call this being a what? Control freak. And I get it. It's the scariest thing to let go. It's the scariest thing because it's your baby and you put so much into it and you don't want to lose that project. You don't want to lose that client. You don't want to, whatever it is, right? But we know when you hold on tight, that's when you actually lose because there's no room for growth. There's no room to breathe. And if you're always rescuing everybody, no one's going to learn and they're always going to be dependent on you. So you're actually creating this vicious cycle, okay? So then we move into phase 3. Now, some of you have been in phase 2, maybe for years and years and years. What gets you moving into phase 3 is that your business starts growing. You start putting more people in your circus, and that's why we call it the ringleader. Okay, and it's the natural process because why? We are creatures of habit. You started your business doing everything. And so you keep doing everything, even though you have all these extra people. And so you're building teams. And which is great. But often what happens is that you hire people before you're clear on what success looks like for the role. Did you get what I just said? It's probably one of the most important things you're going to hear me say all 3 days. You hire someone before you're clear on what success looks like for the role. Because if you don't know, they don't know. And then how do you measure? And then you're like, do I keep this person? Do I not keep this person? Right? And that's what keeps you in this circus. And so you're frustrated. If you find yourself up at night complaining to your significant other about XYZ employee over and over and over again, right? It just keeps the circus going. You're in ringleader phase. I had somebody sent in a message a few days ago, and they said, I want to speak to your team because I have this narcissistic employee that is driving everybody out of my company, and I don't know what to do. And I was like, why are you keeping this person? Now, I haven't said that to them, but this is what we do. Like, we can't even think straight because we're so close to it, right? We don't see it. And the reason is that we keep trying to employ things that we were doing back then. We have to become different people. I know that sounds weird, but we kind of have to let go, like I said, that 80%. As you want to evolve your business, you have to evolve as a leader. You cannot run that 10 times company if you're still the same person back here. Do you all get that? I mean, that's powerful stuff, And so what happens is you got people in the wrong roles, you're micromanaging, your team is confused. And here's the thing. Things start breaking apart, and what do? You jump in to fix it. I'll do it. I've got it. Let me, and that's why those of you having to run out because you got to get on a call, that's what's happening. And you just keep feeding the problem. You keep feeding the problem. And you have to be willing to say, no more. I'm going to operate in a different way.